Hello everybody, hope you're doing fantastically well. It's Connor here and we are back here with another One Leeds video. Before we start the video, everybody, make sure you like, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe. It's been a better last couple of days for Connor. It definitely has. I'm going to talk about myself in third person. And yeah, for you guys, I'm sure as well, after Leeds United were victorious at Anfield for the third time in my lifetime, which has been absolutely epic. So yeah, Leeds sticking it on Bournemouth hopefully this weekend, and we go to Ellen Road on the back of a win, which is great. Something to at least grip onto, and we're going to discuss Jesse Marsch's press conference today as well. Some interesting things coming out there. And of course, everybody, before we start the video, there has been some stuff uploaded onto the Patreon account. Stuff which has been a bit different this week. I'm sure people who are part of the Patreon will attest to that one. A little bit of a background on myself and football and all that good stuff. A bit more personal. Some of you guys wanted on that Patreon account. So I've done that for you today. We've got some bonus stuff coming on as well. Debrief extra and all that good stuff next week. As well, you guys know that we are partnered, as always, with Betmate this week, everyone. And what I would like to say is it's free. This week it is completely free to enter. 50 quid guaranteed payout. Leeds United versus Bournemouth. Yeah, just download the app, as you can see there. I'm just going to go through a little video showing you guys how to do that. But this is my team for the weekend. I've gone with Melier and net. Christensen, I've gone with Charlie Mepham. Mark Rocker as captain. Phil Billing. Kiefer Moore, Aronson, that is my team. And yeah, this is just how you go through it, everyone. So yeah, just give it a little bit of a join there. One Leeds. I just thought this would be a little bit better and easier for you guys. As you've downloaded the app, enter the pot code. Bada bing, bada boom. Pick your team. There you go. As easy as that, everyone. Really good community over there. And that's that. And as I say, yeah, let's get on to it. Let's see what some of you guys are saying. Please don't predict a win, Connor. Yeah, okay, I won't. We're going to lose 8-0. Hey, Connor, did you get a photo of Batty? Brett, I didn't, mate. And the reason was, if you guys don't know, I was in the same Starbucks yesterday as David Batty. Very, very nervous. But I will say this, I used to play with his lads, George and Jack, down at Tadcaster Albion, so I wasn't that awestruck by him, to be quite honest with you, but he was there with his family, he was there with, obviously, his wife and his dogs, and, sometimes everyone, you don't need to go and interrupt someone, you don't need to do it, and I thought he was having a lovely day, so I thought, no, I'm just going to leave David Batty to it, I'm just going to continue doing my thing, and sometimes I think that's a perfect way of going about it, so yeah, I left him alone, and he might have two-footed me anyway, so I was a bit scared about that one. So yeah, anyway, let's get on to it. So, Jesse Marsch's press conference, what did we learn from it? Well, Sinisterra, that was an interesting conversation. So if you guys have missed it, Sinisterra was a huge topic of conversation. Obviously, it looks like he's going to be missing for the next two games, which is a little bit of a worry. Apparently, the injury is more serious than first thought. He's going to be out until after the World Cup, which is obviously a hammer blow. It's a massive hammer blow. And that's not to say that I would have taken Somerville out for this game, because I wouldn't. And that's not to say that he would have impacted William Gnonto coming on in this game, because he wouldn't. But I do think Jack Harrison needs a rest. I think Jack Harrison needs to be taken out of the team. I'm so bored of saying it, but you guys know, for me, his contribution has been nowhere near it for a long while now. And when you look at the general sphere of Jack Harrison at Leeds United, and not just clusters, I think it's been off it for a while. So, yeah, I think if Cini had come back, it would have been a simple switch between Cini and Harrison. But it looks like he's going to be out now for a while. So it's time for you to prove it again, Jack. And hopefully this time against Bournemouth, we do actually see a performance from him, because it was another lackluster performance from him against Liverpool for me. So, yeah, that would have been the only change for me. But Cini's going to be out, which is, I don't know, maybe if we'd have lost the game against Liverpool, I'd have been more downbeat about that. But I don't know. I really, not only Somerville, and I know you guys, what I've almost said about Somerville over the past couple of videos, really, about me not being fully convinced yet. It's because I'm not. He's only a young lad, and can he, as he convinced me in two appearances and a fair few cameo appearances? Not really, but I wouldn't expect him to, and I think that's way too much pressure for the fans to already have made their mind up about Crysencio Somerville. If you listen to Jesse Marsch today, it doesn't look like he's made his mind up about Crysencio Somerville. So don't let these 2 goals deter you away from the full picture. There is a huge potential there for Crysencio Somerville. And Jesse was essentially saying today that his discipline needs to stay on point, which we all are aware of. Jesse said this multiple times now, and his professionalism, as he said today, again needs to stay on point. So whatever that means, because we don't know, we're not privy to all of these things. But yeah, it's really fascinating that he was talking about those two aspects, because, you know, they can be quite damning, but it can be quite obvious. It can be extremely good when you get those two things right. So yeah, he was discussing that, and I think that the balance of Somerville and Gnonto now, we saw Willie Gnonto come on against Liverpool. I genuinely believe there wasn't enough hype about Willie Gnonto the other day, and that's why I'm okay about Cine in a strange sort of way at the minute anyway. Sure I won't be if we lose at the weekend, but it's because you've got almost complementary players like Somerville and Gnonto, who have formed a really good partnership off the field, apparently. And I think I really like what Willie Gnonto brings. So yeah, I don't think, as I've just said, I don't think enough people are talking about his performance the other day. I thought he brought a real balance to Leeds United, a lack of rush and thunder, calm on the ball, good on the ball. And you can see why Mancini likes him. It's Italy, you know, and Jesse was saying today once again that he has that level of professionalism, and he has that level of discipline at a tender age of 18, which is great to hear. And maybe that's going to be the balancing act of Somerville and what keeps Somerville on track, because we know Crescencio does it for the 21s. He's levels ahead of the 21s. So can we see that level of, consistency that we do struggle to see from a lot of these Leeds United players, and that's reflecting the lack of goals that Leeds have. A few super chats coming in. Simon says, Llorente better than Coops. I don't know, mate. Don't know. I mean, if it was up to me, I wouldn't have either of them at the club, but but yeah, maybe that is, maybe it's a fine line. It's a very fine line. I'd maybe just go Cooper, to be honest with you. I do not want to see Llorente anywhere near it at the minute. Have a drink on me, bro, Brett. Thank you, mate, and I will do. No, I will. It's Thursday. You know, I don't normally drink until Saturday, and then I'll have a couple. But because you said that, Brett, I will, my friend. Thank you so much, Baseline Bible. Lewis Waterhouse says, did you see the tweet from Rads, what he put out? I didn't, mate. Is this today, or is this... He's not made a ridiculous comment again as he made as he has. Sorry, I'm waffling now. It's gibberish because I get worried when Raz tweets. So I'll keep me updated, everyone. So interesting stuff from the press conference as well, as we just said about the maturity between the two. Now, what I found interesting about this one as well was Jesse was almost talking about a plan B and a plan C, or should I say an option B and an option C. He was talking about the players not really understanding, still to this day, the different ways in which we build up, the different ways in which we get through the phases, transitioning, which I found fascinating, because we're at a stage now where we've been with Jesse for, I think it's 25 games now. We've had a full pre-season, and there are still players not quite understanding what Jesse wants. Now, this isn't me having a damning statement on Jesse at all, everybody. It's not, because I know that the script has flipped now and everybody's of a different mindset. However, it's fascinating to look upon this and think to yourself, well, is that the football IQ? Is that the quality? Because the quality of a player isn't just on the ball. It isn't just on the pitch. It's up there. You know, that's an elite mentality where you're able to adapt and pick things up very, very quickly. So is it that, or is it the fact that Jesse's coaching methods aren't really working in terms of the group being able to understand what an option B is or what an option C is? Because I actually agree with what he's saying. I think when he's talking about Leeds building up through the zones, which he always mentions, it doesn't have to go long straight away. And he actually mentioned possession as well, which isn't a Red Bull hallmark. Red Bull network don't really utilise ball possession. It's not really a thing. The traditional Red Bull hallmark anyway. It's about recovery in the final third. So it was interesting to hear him talk about that. It's been interesting to see Leeds play with a little bit more width as well over the last couple of weeks. So I'd keep an eye on it, and I'd keep an eye on maybe seeing a little bit of pragmatism, a little bit of difference in how Leeds do build up, because if we do the same thing with Bournemouth, I do believe we are going to struggle. I do believe we're going to see the same patterns, the same trends as we've seen previously with teams who sit in a low block and counter-attack. Few more coming in. Will says, Connor, would you say Gelhardt is now behind Gnonto and Somerville in the pecking order? I probably would, Will. The different positions, and obviously we're playing more centrally now. And those two are essentially like what inverted wingers. And I don't think Gelhardt is really, if you're playing 4-2-3-1, what's happening with Gelhardt there? That's not for me to say that Bamford is doing a better job at the minute. The thing with Paddy, which I think we can all recognise, is his movement is very, very good. He brings a lot to the team. But the counter argument to Patrick Bamford is getting in those positions, you have to score. Missing 9 big chances, another big opportunity at Liverpool, which wasn't registered as a big chance because he didn't have a shot on goal, but another big chance. I understand why a lot of you are frustrated by it. I'm frustrated by it. But what is the next plan? The plan of action should have been to get a striker. The plan of action going forward should be to get a striker because it's not his fault. Ultimately, is he good enough anymore? I would question that. But it's not his fault that we haven't gone out there in the summer and bought a striker to help him out and to aid competition. That's not his fault. Paddy is rusty. He's been out for, 13, 14 months now. Is he going to be that same player again? He's clearly lacking self-confidence. So Gelhardt coming in, does he replicate those Paddy attributes? Well, Bielsa didn't think so. And Jesse's now a little bit unsure. So that's maybe something that you've got to take into consideration because I like Gelhardt, but he's more of a 10. We've always said that on this channel. He's a shadow striker. He's between that 10 and 9 maybe. But he is not an out-and-out number 1 up top for me, anyway. So yeah, maybe in a roundabout answer, mate. I would say so. Yeah, Gabe, congrats on the move, Connor. Cheers, mate. Avoid Wagamama's near the Manchester City Centre. Gave me food poisoning. I'll never forget. You have to come back over, my man, and we'll go for some food and discuss Leeds United. Lots of fun. Bamford is done. Hard to install a plan B if plan A hasn't fully sunk in yet, but I believe it will develop gradually as the players continue to gain experience in the system. Yeah, Dan, and is it a plan B? Is it a plan B, C? Or because when he's talking about zones and he's talking about moving the ball in different ways, for me, that's not a plan B or a plan C or an option B or an option C. That's just part of plan A. So I don't know whether or not he's getting a little bit confused there, and maybe that's been lost in translation. But for me, a plan B and a plan C is completely coming away from what you are doing initially, what you are doing originally, devising a different game plan, devising different formations, bringing substitutes on to help that formation. That's, for me, what a different game plan is, what a different system, different set, different option is. So I don't know whether or not this is just maybe overcomplicating plan A and the players aren't quite getting it, because he did say that today. He said they're not quite doing it. And we've seen this from Jesse for weeks and weeks and weeks now. And I think that's where the frustration from him comes across. And that's why you saw it last week when he wasn't cussing anyone out. He wasn't saying it's his fault, it's his fault, it's his fault. But he was saying people need to stand up and be counted. We probably looked at that and said that's a discipline thing. It probably wasn't a discipline thing. It's probably, get your SHIT together, listen to what I'm saying, watch the video, and let's do it. He was talking today about Crescentia Somerville, and when he was talking about discipline and professionalism, he actually referenced video and taking in the tape. Now, these are little things, little reference points which you've got to take into consideration, everyone, because, what he's essentially saying there, when you're paraphrasing it, is maybe he's not taking on board what I'm saying, and that's been the problem with him getting into this Leeds United side. So if he carries on with what he's doing and he takes in more and more and more, it's not about his ability on the pitch, it's about understanding what I'm telling him. When he's going wrong, I'm showing him on the tape, you take that in, and you develop and improve on it. Maybe that's all he's referring to. Who knows? Gabe says, we keep talking about Paddy getting back, but even when fit, he blows so many easy chances. Have to bring in a higher efficiency striker, essentially. Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. Yeah, I think even in the chat, I never rated Bamford in the Championship. I was one who wanted someone else, because the amount of chances we curated in the Championship, for him to only get 16 Championship goals was just ludicrous. However, that's when I took a step back, and in the Championship, obviously 2 or 3 years ago, when it's a completely different level, you were looking at his movement the year afterwards when he came into the Premiership, scored 17 goals, and you thought, wow, okay, yeah, his movement's very, very good. But now we're at this phase in Leeds United's development, our regeneration cycle, which hopefully is going to start happening very, very soon. We're going to start seeing higher quality players coming in, because if we don't, this is going to be the same thing every single season. Leeds are going to be fighting relegation every single season. And I'm not saying this is going to happen this year. I personally think from 15th and below is a relegation battle, so I think Leeds will be in that. However, going forward, we need to see improvements. And the striker option is where we all said in the summer, Leeds need to improve, and they didn't. So, yeah. Hi, Lewis. Back again. Thanks a lot, mate. Rads tweeted out after the Liverpool game when we win and said we wasn't rubbish against Fulham, but doesn't come out and say this when we lose. Just bizarre. Yeah, mate, we spoke about this on the debrief. I mean, someone just take his phone off him. Just take his phone off him. Yeah, because exactly like you said, Lewis, it's almost like he needs a hug. He wants... For me, Rads, he wants approval. He's always wanted approval because he's always come online, and I remember he's spoken about how well he's done for Leeds and where the club was at on Twitter. Twitter is not the place to do that. You know, when I tweet out, people will come for me constantly. The same people every single time. Rads will have that on a grandeur scale, I should say. So I don't understand why he does it. And as well, I'm not saying this is going to happen, everybody, but if we were to lose against Bournemouth, people are going to go back to that tweet that he's put out, as they did with the Cody Gakpo tweet, as they've done previously when he's spoken about the Leicester model, and they're going to rehash it and bring it up again. I just don't understand why he does it. It's almost like he has to have that the gratification of the fans. I don't get or the approval of the fans. And it's like, you're an owner. You're not meant to be glossy. You're not meant to be someone who we speak about all the time. We speak about the players and the manager. That's it. The owners never get spoken about in football unless they're doing something negative. So, yeah, that was a bit crazy, to be honest. Justin just says 400 in the room. Smash the like. I'd really appreciate that, everybody. It just means it shows higher on the algorithm. As I say, if you want to get involved in Betmate this weekend, it is a free bet, everybody. As I say, this is my team for this weekend, and there's a 50 quid guaranteed payout. Just download Betmate. It is in the description below, and simply enter ONELEEDS where the pot code is. So, Bournemouth, it's not been great for them. They've not had a real nice run of things. Obviously been beaten probably more notably at home by Southampton 1-0. But they're a decent team, you know, to push Spurs like they did. And I watched the game, and they did push Spurs. They've got a really... You know, obviously we've seen them in the Championship for years and years now, just blow it away whenever they go down. And they've got a real nice, fluid style of play. They're quick. But I think what they'll do in this game, and they've developed, obviously, you know, when it's come to players like Zamora coming in, Kiefer Moore gives them a completely different option, which we have to regulate against. But you know what? That's Liam Cooper's battle. Liam Cooper, I would trust, you know, if you go back to the Championship days, I'm trusting Liam Cooper way more against a Kiefer Moore, against a Matt Smith, than I'm trusting Liam Cooper against a Billy Sharp, you know? So Kiefer Moore, and I'm only referring to the Championship there because Kiefer has played in the Championship for many, many years, but they're the battles that Cooper does well against. So, yeah, I think, you know, the influx of new players at Bournemouth has given them a bit of variety when it comes to being able to play a certain way, but I think it's going to be a certain way this weekend. I think Bournemouth are going to come because they've got the game plan of Fulham, of Everton, of Aston Villa, of Crystal Palace, of simply sitting back and knocking that ball over the press. And we spoke about this before. Liverpool, if we did win against Liverpool, this doesn't just get... You know, this doesn't just get rid of the problem, because we know what the problem is there. When Jesse and Leeds United are able to consistently beat the teams that are in and around us, the teams that have maybe just got promoted, obviously we've still got to play Nottingham Forest at home, we've still got to play Bournemouth at home, still got to play Fulham away, etc. If we're able to beat these teams in and around us, that is going to be a development, an improvement. That's where you're going to see, okay, we can actually play against this team, these teams. We do have a plan. Now, let me just relay a stat to you guys, which I mentioned on the debrief the other day. When Leeds have had 40% or more possession, we have lost every single game we've played. Yet when we have below 40% possession, we have won every single game we have played. Now, at Ellen Road, Leeds United are going to have more of the ball, you would expect, than Bournemouth. Jesse's spoken about possession today and how he wants to keep the ball a little bit more. So, with all that taken into consideration, if Leeds do have more of the ball, we need to learn how to break these teams down. We have now got our X factor, Sinisterra, out probably until January or whatever it's going to be. But he's not going to be fit for the remainder of the games before the World Cup. So, you need people to step up. You need match winners. You need to be able to break the rear guard and not be sucker punched on the counter-attack. Because Philip Billing, Dom Solanke, even Kiefer Moore if you wanted to go route one and look for the second balls. Zamora, left back. Adam Smith, old, but he's still going to be bombing up and down that right-hand side when he gets the opportunity. So, there are options there for Bournemouth. So this is the test for Leeds. Liverpool was a huge test, of course it was, but that old saying that we all go on about, it was a free hit. And it's awful to say, because no game in the Premier League should be a free hit. But Liverpool are Liverpool. It was a free hit when you look at Leeds United. We've managed to somehow, and deservedly so, get the win. But this is the test. Two sides of it. Three sides of it. Let's start negative to positive. Negative, or critical, as I like to say. If he loses this, I'm not convinced. I need more evidence to be convinced on this project that we're moving with at the minute. But if he is to lose this game, we are right back to square one. And then the pressure is at an unbelievable level away at Tottenham, which is going to be tough. We know that. It's going to be tough. If we draw the game, lots of fans are going to be like, it doesn't matter. It's okay. I probably won't be like that, because I see another promoted team coming to Ellen Road, another team in and around Leeds United. But we can't be looking at an Aston Villa. We can't be looking at a Everton at home when we've just gone, it's a point, it's okay. When before the game, everybody has said that it's a must-win, or everybody said we need to be winning these sorts of games. Both teams were below us before the start of those games. Bournemouth are not on a good run. They've won one game, I believe it is, away this season. Lost 3 out of the last 4. So a draw's not really acceptable for me. I think this needs to be a win. Now, if he is to win the game, okay. And if we're to win the game convincingly, comprehensively, okay. And then if we can follow that up and go get a point at Spurs. You ever seen that Vince McMahon meme where it's like, oh, yeah. 7 points out of 9. Fantastic. And even if we were to lose the game at Spurs, 6 points out of 9. When you contextualise it and elongate the amount of games we've played, you look at Fulham and you look at Leicester and you talk about those 5 games and you're winning 2 out of those 5, doesn't look great. However, when you look at the 3 games and you've won 2 out of those 3 games, okay, fair play. That's not bad. We can build on that. Rads only tweets after 3 or 4 glasses. Let's have a look. That's a worrying stat. Yeah, a load of you guys in the building. Bournemouth at home, bring back Luke Murphy. I fancy us to smash Bournemouth. Hope so, Frank. Hope you're right, mate. I'm hoping Liverpool, Jesse can turn this around, has learnt the lessons on which teams to press and which teams not, so we don't get caught with the route one. That's it, Gary. And it nearly says mid-block in your name. I wish Bournemouth were a mid-block and not a low block. Hi, mate. Rads is entitled to his opinion, same as everyone else. If we buy shirts and tickets and give our opinion, surely the money is put in entitles him. Yeah, of course, Glenn. It's his football club. But I guess, Glenn, we can have our opinion on Rads' tweets. But yeah, like he can have his opinion. He owns the football club. That's why everyone takes notice, Glenn, because he's the owner of the football club. He's a custodian, isn't he? So yeah, nah. I mean, I agree. I guess we just have to have an opinion on what he said. So, Dow says, I don't think you can judge a manager based on result. Obviously, I would much rather win, but if we get completely outplayed, it's bad either way. Same thing if we dominate and lose. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, a scrappy win would be absolutely fine, but it'd just be nice to actually see Leeds perform. Leeds perform over 90 minutes and beat a newly promoted side, which you would expect teams to do, really. Okay, guys, I'm going to go with am I going to put a prediction in there? Probably not. No, I'm not going to go with a prediction because you guys, whatever I say, just come for me. So I'm not going to put a prediction in there. I'm going to leave it. So yeah, I did actually say that we'd do a debrief as well, guys. But as I've told you, I'm in the process of moving. So it's been nuts. So I'll try and get Brownie's prediction on I'll just text him and get his prediction, and I'll put it on social media. And yeah, I'll do a prediction on social media as well. So make sure you're following us on all the socials. Yeah, and make sure you're following us on Patreon, guys. If you want some extra content, that'd be amazing. We've got loads of good stuff coming up on there as well. So make sure you check that out as well. Get involved in Betmate. The link's in the description below. And everyone, have a good one, and I will see you in a bit. Cheers.